I reported someone for harassment to the police and feel so guilty. I'm not the oop. This was posted by Federal Gear 90 and R off my chest. Here's my favorite song from Bo Burnham to hide the trigger warning and mood spoiler. Trigger warning: stalking, homophobia, suicide, less than. Mood spoiler: you'll feel bad for everyone involved. Less than. Original. The 5th of January 23. I reported someone for harassment to the police and feel so guilty. This started in June last year and involved a guy from my gym. I'd never spoken to him before, but one day he approached me outside the gym saying that I'd dropped one of my earbuds. I thanked him and we made some small talk, and that was it as far as I was concerned. I'm a 33-year-old male and he looked around my age. This guy then started to make me feel very uncomfortable at the gym. He'd keep staring at me from a distance and sitting near me, or would use a machine next to mine. He would never say a word. One day he sat behind me and I caught him really staring at me in the mirror while I was doing squats. I got really nervous, especially because he's a very muscular guy. There were also times when he'd be waiting for me after I left the gym. He'd stand on the road playing on his mobile phone and watch me as I walked past. He'd then go into his apartment building without saying a word. The final straw was I caught this guy taking my photo from a distance. I then reported his behavior to the police and the gym. I tried changing my gym schedule, but I was doing a training program, and even if I changed the time, he'd turn up when I was there. I even tried talking to him one day at the gym to try and clear the air, but he was very rude, borderline aggressive, and then sent me a strange message on social media. I replied saying we should have no contact with each other in person or virtually. Even after that, this guy kept turning up at the gym when I was there. He'd stay at the other side of the gym from me, but I'd still catch him looking over at me when he thought I didn't notice. I was receiving support during this time from a charity for victims of harassment, and my caseworker got frustrated by the lack of action by the police and sent the detective in charge a very stern email. She was particularly concerned because I had caught this guy in the gym changing room or following me in after I went in there. The police then agreed to give this guy a warning, and because they could not find him at his home address, they went to his work. They told me he was incredibly embarrassed and even started crying. He kept apologizing and saying he never intended to make me feel uncomfortable. He said that after the first time we spoke, he developed a crush on me, found me on social media and thought we had a lot of common. He also said that the more he saw me at the gym, the more he became attracted to me. He explained to the police he doesn't date, but only uses hookup apps where he can protect his identity. He admitted he uses these apps several hours every day and probably has a problem. The police asked him why he didn't just talk to me, and he said he was scared that I'd reject him. And because I was friendly with a lot of the gym staff and other customers, I'd then tell them he was gay. He explained he comes from a homophobic country, and even in ours, he didn't want people knowing about his sexuality. He said that's why he was rude to me at the gym when I tried to speak to him and sent the social media message. The police remarked that they think he is ashamed of his sexuality and were actually worried about him, because he kept saying things like he never chose to be this way and his life is over now. The police have now come to see me and said they are closing the case because I have nothing more to worry about. They said they contacted the guy's employer, as they had tried to follow up with him. They informed the police they fired him after he was interviewed and had to be escorted out of the office by security as he was so distraught. As far as they know, he has returned to his home country and may stay there permanently. The gym also told me he has cancelled his membership. I never wanted this guy to lose his job and leave the country. just to leave me alone. The charity and police insist I did the right thing, because I had no way of knowing what this guy wanted. I suspected he might be gay, but I didn't understand why if he liked me. He didn't just speak to me. My cousin who I'm very close to is gay and I know how difficult things have been for him. I also know what it's like to be fired from your job, as I was forced out of one after I reported a senior colleague for bullying. I didn't do anything wrong in my case and it was so humiliating. I even called a helpline for LGBT issues and I felt really bad after telling them what happened. I know this must sound really crazy, but I feel guilty about how this has turned out. I never wanted to ruin this guy's life. He clearly has problems, but I worry I've made it worse. Edit. I edited the first paragraph to make it clear that I am male. Update. The 17th of January 23. My harasser has killed himself. Suicide trigger warning. I'm a 33-year-old male who was harassed by this man from my gym from early June last year to the end of November. I wrote about my experience previously on Reddit. It started with him staring at me constantly in the gym and making excuses to get close to me and escalated to him waiting for me after the gym and taking my photo. I tried changing and varying my schedule at the gym but he would turn up when I was there. I also had to see him in our local area at the supermarket etc. I could not leave the gym, because I would have broken my contract and I was doing a fitness program I'd already paid for in full. I reported him to the police and also got support from an anti-harassment charity. I tried speaking to this man at the gym to try and clear the air, but he was rude and aggressive. He then tried to gaslight me by sending me a message on social media making out I was bothering him. After that, he carried on coming to the gym when I was there and it got to the point where he was trying to follow me into the changing rooms. My caseworker from the charity had enough and insisted the police do something. They went to this man's work and gave him an official warning. Apparently, he was humiliated and then fired from his job. The police have contacted me and now told me that this man has killed himself. My mom took me out for dinner last night to lift my spirits. She said despite what this man did to me, as a mother, she feels sorry for him and especially his family. I went for a long walk this morning and I realized something that I cannot say to any of my family or friends who've supported me through this ordeal. The truth is, I don't care. I don't care that this man was apparently very closeted, grew up in a homophobic country and had shame about his sexuality. Lots of gay men have struggles like this. They don't do what this man did to me over several months. I don't care that he was apparently very lonely and spent almost every waking hour on hookup apps. Lots of men use these apps. If he had some form of addiction, he could have got help. Loneliness or whatever else you have going on is no excuse for making someone else feel the way I did. I don't care that he was fired from his job and humiliated. I'm glad that people found out what sort of person he really was. If he was a good employee, his bosses would have got him help and not fired him. Regardless, I don't have any responsibility for him losing his job. I had to protect myself. I do have some compassion for this man's family. It must be devastating for them, especially to find out all these things about him. However, this man graduated from a top university and had a good job before all this happened. He could have stopped at any time, but he didn't. He didn't give any thought to my feelings and the impact his behavior was having on me. I honestly never wished death on this man and I'd have been happy with him just moving away. However, I'm glad that I can go to the gym or the supermarket and not worry about seeing him ever again. If that makes me a terrible person, I can live with that. I'm going to move forward and enjoy my life without giving him any more thought. If any other survivors or victims of people like this man read this, I hope you get through it. Reminder, I'm not the oop. As a gay man, I'm totally on OOP's side and understand where he's coming from. Stalking is extremely heinous and abusive no matter what your sexuality is. It robs the victim of their ability to feel in control of their own life. It can drive the victim to risky or dangerous desperation behavior to make the stalking stop. It can cause very long-lasting if not permanent damage to the victim's mental health. Stalkers' insecurity and maladjustment are not OOP's problem. Apathy is a very common and reasonable response to the death of an abuser. I hope OOP knows he is not a monster. Seems like instead of seeing this as two things, cause, reporting, and effect, spiral, they could really be viewed as one. Stalking and obsessing were part of the shame spiral already in progress that led to all of those other consequences. It's like when somebody's having a terrible day and then they unfairly lose their temper on someone for a random reason. OOP was not the architect of this man's tragedy. He was an unwilling side character. I went on 4 dates with a guy who harassed and stalked me for 6 years. The frustration, rage, and fear you feel is on another level. Don't blame the OOP for not caring. I can feel his relief from here. You know, I kind of agree with OP. Yes, his reporting to the police resulting in this man spiraling. But that was a result of the guy stalking OP and being inappropriate. His actions led to him being fired and other things. And OP is right, there are a lot of ways the guy could have gotten help. And he chose otherwise. I hope this doesn't weigh on OP anymore. Why on earth would police tell him that the guy killed himself? That's actually pretty healthy. I don't care is way better than I'm glad he's dead. It's not OP's fault. And he's not angry or bitter. He's just moving on. Yeah, not OP's fault. He did absolutely the right thing. Not reporting to the police could have led to something dark for OP. OP could have been assaulted, drugged, ped, kidnapped or murdered. Stalker faced consequences of his own actions. He did all that to himself. None of this is on OP. You know what? Good. You aren't required to feel bad when someone who has harassed you dies. That's not something that should be put on you. And this guy isn't like publicly playing ding dong the witch is dead or something. He's pretty privately stating that he's not upset at someone who he didn't know outside of harassing him died. I think this dude is okay. Probably should go to therapy, cause I know that lack of emotion can make you feel guilty. But I think that's a normal reaction. Is it common practice for the police to follow up with a victim after the case closed in the case of suicide? I'm glad that the OP doesn't feel guilt over this man. He did so much wrong to him that the OP tried to solve before going to the police. I'm sorry that he chose to take his own life, and I hope that man's family can find a way to cope. As someone that was stalked before, I agree with OP's sentiment. I don't care about why they are stalking you. It's their problem. Because the stalker absolutely don't care about the issues they are creating on our lives. And that sometimes linger forever. If you have mental issues, problems, but you are hurting people, I don't care about you then. You are a bad person. I'm having a hard time buying the idea that the police would 1. Follow up 2. Share the information about the suicide. It's such a taboo subject. People don't talk about it. Also, the police sharing the information about him only using apps. That's weird info for the police to pass on. Does this read like real human behavior to y'all? I'm sure it's wrong. But I damn near cackled at, the police told me he was escorted from his job in tears. He went back to his home country. And he canceled his gym membership. What's the opposite of arson? Murder. And jaywalking? Op shouldn't feel bad at all for reporting the guy. And if anything, it's good that he did. This type of behavior escalates rapidly and is dangerous for Op as well as other people around Op. At the same time, the stalker clearly had some unresolved issues around his own identity, and it's unfortunate he didn't have anyone in his life he could confide in, or other resources to help him navigate it. But let's be clear, his behavior was woefully inappropriate. Op could not have done anything about this and was under no obligation to act as a steward to help him out. Just really sad, unfortunate circumstances. I hope Op is able to move on and not feel that guilt. Well, that's just the chattiest damned police force in the world. Eh? Details about the stalker's hookup app use. His crying and shame. Their concern about his well-being. I'm pretty sure police here wouldn't even engage in a case where the only contact was staring in a gym both parties attended. But hey, this police even followed up and then helpfully told Op that dude killed himself. I'm glad Op is not feeling guilty anymore. This is not their fault. What job do you get fired for having the cops talk to you but aren't charged with anything? Also, how would the cops know he got fired? Also, why would they tell the other guy that he got fired? Also, under no circumstances would the cops call him to say the other guy killed himself if the case was closed. Yeah, police don't call you and tell you that someone killed themselves. Oop has nothing to feel bad about. I am glad he's moved past his initial feelings of guilt. It is so terrible that even his mother sided with his stalker. Lots of gay men have struggles like this. They don't do what this man did to me over several months. This is key.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.